All right. With that, I'll call our December 8th, what are we calling this? A commission meeting and a work session? Work session to order. We'll start out with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oops. Thank you. With that, I'll ask Amy to take roll call.
Commissioner Dibdahl.
Here.
Commissioner Wolf.
Here.
Commissioner Wire.
Here.
Commissioner Barish.
Here.
And Mr. Mayor Lindsay.
All right. With that, I will entertain a motion to adopt today's agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Into business for today. We'll start out with our finance, operations, progress, and strategic direction, specifically our digital budget book. Amy?
Yes. Good afternoon. So, we're going to start with the overall strategic direction first. Over the past year, the Finance Office has stabilized operations, strengthened internal controls, modernized key processes, and advanced transparency across the organization. We completed foundational policies, corrected legacy practices, clarified internal roles, and implemented tools that expand access to financial information for staff, leadership, and the public. The Finance Office has made measurable progress in stabilizing operations, codifying standards, and improving transparency. We are striving to sustain compliance and improve service to residents. We are learning new systems and embracing a higher bar for transparency. The next phase of work focuses on codifying long-term financial discipline through policy adoption, fully digitalizing agendas and minutes to improve efficiency and public record keeping, and completing fixed asset and inventory reforms. These efforts are not cosmetic. They strengthen stewardships of taxpayer dollars, shorten cycle times, and provide clearer, timely information to both the Commission and the community. As these initiatives move forward, the Finance Office is positioned to reinforce fiscal discipline, maintain transparency, and deliver a durable and accountable department that serves the City of Madison with integrity. Some of our key accomplishments are the audit readiness and compliance. We have completed 2 audits, and the third is in progress with a projected ending timeline of the end of the year. The field work has been completed, and we're working daily with them on any requests that they have. We have drafted several policies in the last year: a procurement policy, a crisis policy, a reimbursement policy, and a comprehensive financial and reserves policy. We have also built a digital budget book to consolidate financial information for internal use and public transparency, and we've implemented monthly financial updates and expanded bilingual utility forms. Operational modernization includes department head access to Tyler, automated account payable workflows, which we will be engaging in this month, standardizing purchasing controls such as Amazon Business Center and Center for our business credit cards, and we've revamped the vehicle registration process. We've implemented QR parking ticket for payments, and we've restructured organizational leadership, expanding engagement with all city departments. In regards to debt and financing administration, we've advanced bond loan documents, we've closed interim financing, we've secured financing through cash flows and bans, and we've improved coordination with advisors and departments. As far as resetting operational and controls, we've done accounts payable, we've introduced clear approval workflows and reduced rework by aligning documents at the front end. We've changed the purchasing and credit card modules. We've migrated cards to a commercial program, which increased the lines of credit for each one of our departments, and every single department now has their own card. And they use a system to approve their expenses, which gives them more flexibility. They can do it from their phones, and they go directly to accounts payable. We've clarified usage and reconciliation expectations. Receipting and customer interactions, we've introduced the bilingual forms and standardized customer service scripts and handouts where needed. In regards to revenue and collections, we've implemented the QR and parking tickets, improved fee collection processes, and tightened cash handling expectations. Department access and accountability, we've enabled role-appropriate Tyler access for department heads, improving visibility into budgets and transactions for all. Operation and analysts and review, we've determined and established effective procedures for processing internal transactions. The policy modernization, I've already mentioned, we've done several different policies, from the procurement policy, the crisis policy, the financial policy, a reserves policy, and a scrap and recycle policy. We have strived to improve our transparency and public communication through our digital budget book, which Cole will recap here in a moment. We've had capital planning process. We've rolled out scoring cards for the commission and the ClearGov capital budgeting module, which department heads are using. We've refined key messages and corrected legacy communications when needed to preserve trust. And we have implemented the monthly finance updates to the commission. As mentioned previously, we are through 2 of the audits, engaged in our 2024 audit, and that is on schedule to be completed. They are drafting statements, actually, so we should look at completion towards the end of December, possibly the beginning of January. Internal controls, we've introduced template forms, checklists, and document procedures to improve repeatability and audit evidence. We have also worked on grant and debt compliance, centralizing source documents and timelines to ensure adherence to SRF and bond covenants and grant terms. As far as the finance team, we've worked on training. We've cross-trained staff. We've continued evaluating of processes and documentation of procedures, monthly department meetings to improve communication and teamwork. We have redefined definition of our roles and who does what to reduce single points of failure. We have set clear, responsible turnaround expectations for departments and the public. We have now file access for all finance staff, guidelines for file storage and retention. And we've created a finance calendar for all finance-related deadlines and processes available to all finance staff, so things aren't missed. Our 6 to 12 month priorities, our first being Civic Plus electronic minutes. We are rolling that out. Hope to have that finished in February of 2026. We eliminated the Heartland as a mid to reduce processing fees and reconciliation. That has been completed. The liquor license procedures, updates, and standardizing will begin in January, and we hope to have that ramped up and done by May. We are in the process of reviewing our fixed assets and inventory overhaul. That is going to be a very complex process to figure out through Tyler. We will be engaging with them tomorrow, actually, to figure out back-end operations and that. So we're expecting end of year next year. The financial policy, reserve policy, scrap and recycle policy, all have been completed. The digital budget book is up and implemented. Surcharges will be continual to make sure we're meeting the 110% debt ratio and watching those, monitoring as they progress. The debt analysis is also ongoing, and we are validating and tracking all of our outstanding debt. Our TIF process is ongoing currently. We're about halfway through that process, and we are verifying all the base values, the increment calculations, the project plans, the remaining obligations, and the expiration dates of all of those. Special assessments is something we are currently in the process with the county, and we are tracking and reconciling all outstanding assessments there as well. Our next piece that has been brought to our attention is all of our contracts. We do have those in a centralized location and paper form, and we will be consolidating all of those into a digital format and then creating a log of when they expire and renew. The risks and mitigations is data quality and legacy gaps. We continue backfilling documentation and standardizing files. Capacity constraints, we prioritize the policy calendar and critical paths, which are fixed assets, licensings, agenda and minutes, and we're going to leverage cross-training. Document retention, we're doing communication of procedure specific to funding. Our strategic goals upcoming would be the implementation of accounts payable, which is automated through Tyler to help us streamline invoice processing and reduce manual work. We will be furthering our look into transitioning to Tyler ER Pro 10 in the cloud to modernize financial systems and enhance integration capabilities. We will engage with the new audit firm continually to ensure timely delivery, quality, and independence of the audit process. We will also be looking at sourcing a different banking institution to improve service, fees, and alignment with the city needs. And that completes the strategic update for the finance office.
Thank you. Any comments from the board or questions?
I don't have anything specific. I just want to say thank you for all you've done this year. You know, it's been a tough budget year. We've had a lot of things ongoing, and then completing the 2 audits, getting through some of these things that we've been hoping to get completed. That's your department's done a very good job at that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Amy, I know you did mention the final or the latest audit possibly ended this month into next month already. That's
pretty wild.
You're fairly confident in that? That's great news if that's.
I'm fairly confident in that, yes. I did receive notice last week. I probably talk to Logan 2 to 3 times a week, and he updates me. And he did tell me that this week they would be drafting statements. He did indicate that we may need a single audit due to the federal funding that we received. We're still looking into that and what that requirement is. But I am confident that they will have something drafted by the end of December. Will it be complete? I'm fingers crossed, but definitely by January.
All right, thank you.
I have a quick question about the, you mentioned sourcing banking institutions. Are there any particular issues with our current relationships that you're having problems with, that you're looking to overcome?
There are several things that we're having issues with our current financial institution with one of our main accounts, which is Wells Fargo. So we're just looking at things that may reduce those time control issues when it comes to uploading files. We're experiencing extreme times that range between 1 to 8 hours for us to send a file. So just those pieces and looking to gain more customer service or direct communication. So those are the pieces that we'll be looking at other institutions for.
Good, thank you.
I guess I just have a logistics question. You know, it seems like we're trying to get our ducks in a row as far as centralizing information and data. Can you touch on, is it like the contracts and the TIFs and the debt analytics? Is that in a specific area? Is that in like Tyler Technologies, or we're just trying to?
Yeah, nothing tied directly to Tyler Technologies. It's just how we're implementing Tyler to track those things, and if it's actually built out correctly, like in fixed assets and inventory, to communicate correctly. As far as like contracts, TIFs, internal communications, those are just legacy issues that weren't established and something we need clear definement of. The finance calendar is a great example. They didn't have a document in place that showed, you know, in January you should complete components A, B, C. And that calendar changes annually. So having that to follow is important to make sure we're not missing key things that need to be completed. So these are just things that we're trying to correct internally and make sure that they're in place for reference.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments? All right, thank you, Amy. With that, we'll move into item number 2, electric OATI AMI update, and I imagine,
I think, Dre, we skipped the digital
oh,
book.
sorry. We'll move into 1A or 1B then.
All right, so I will be providing a brief description on the digital budget book and how you can navigate your way through that. As Amy said, transparency is a important feature for the finance office, and that is what we hope to do with the digital budget book. The charts and graphs that are featured throughout this are easily comprehensible and just make a clear understanding for the public. So here we have a brief introduction about what we hope to accomplish with the budget book. We provide a link to the city strategic plan through here. That gives a description on how the city incorporates the magic of Madison. And then moving down to the history, it'll provide a brief history of how the community was formed and the importance of the lakes and railways in the area and how that contributed to drawing in citizens. The demographics information. This is all information provided to us by ClearGov from the 2021 census. Some of the key information here is population, household and housing, as well as some income information. Being that this is from 2021, it is a little out of date. We've been in touch with ClearGov on when they plan on updating this. By the end of the year, they plan on having 22 and 23 information incorporated, and 24 will be soon to follow that. And then we have a organization chart here that shows all of the full-time employees within the city and how they fall under department heads, city administrator, and the mayor and commission. The budget timeline, this gives us a brief overview of what all goes into creating the budget. So in January 1st, 2026, department head and staff members complete budget components. August 1st, the budgets are due to the finance office. August 15th, capital budget requests are due. September 1st, department head and finance officer budget review. September 15th, commission planning session, and then by October 19th, we shoot to have the first reading of the budget. And then moving on to the fund breakdown, this is where you get into the real detail of each individual fund and what's budgeted for it. If you want to jump to that one, yep. So you can see here we have a little description of what the general fund consists of. The general fund is a majority of all departments within the city. Looking at the first chart here, you can see there are revenue actual and revenue budgeted, as well as expense actuals and expense budgeted. For 2025, we do not have any revenue actuals for that. About the second or third week in January, we will get that information uploaded in here. Then once the audit for 2025 is completed, we'll go ahead and update that again to reflect any adjustments that they recommend. Then if you want to jump to revenue. So here we just have a little pie chart of all the sources of revenue that go into the general fund. And then there we can see, this is more of just a singular view of each different revenue source. And then you can look at the prior years to compare and contrast there. Yep. Going into the expenses for the general fund, we've got the mayor and commissions department here. We have just a brief description there, as well as their historical expenses. Then if you want to jump to. Yep, that is listed for every department. They will also show the types of expenses they have, whether it's a personnel expense, operating expense, or a capital outlay expense. So the lodging entertainment tax, those are all going to be displayed similar to the general fund. just a little less information there, given that they don't have a bunch of departments listed under them. So the capital improvement plan, this gives a rundown of how we budget for the capital projects. There's also some verbiage in here with some definitions to kind of help understand the terminology there. The capital projects portion of it, as of now, we do not have anything in there. This is something that we are still working on. But once that is completed, we'll be able to reflect expenses and revenues sourced for capital projects as well.
Thank you, very, very well done. Do we have any questions or comments from the commission on the digital budget book?
This is really great, by the way. I've very much enjoyed spending time clicking around on the different things, and the visual aspect of it and the ability to get more granular. I was wondering, on the enterprise funds, the revenues are pretty much simply broken down between miscellaneous revenue and other miscellaneous revenue. Is there going to be more detail as to what miscellaneous actually is?
As of now, we don't have any descriptions in there, but that is something we could certainly add into it.
Okay.
Is there a link to this? Where
Yep.
would,
The link is on the city website, on the finance page. You'll see I believe it says digital budget book, and then it has a drop down with a description and a link inside there.
thank you. Any further comments, questions? It's been a long time coming, but this is really good information.
I do have one quick question, and I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but what is our expected timeline for our 2025 audit then?
4 audits sound great. We'll actually engage with them as soon as they're able to. We don't know if we'll be able to get in before they kick off tax season or not, but definitely by June. It would be my goal to be, have the year we come out of be in and on started by June of the following year, so within 6 months.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else? Okay, now we will move into item number 2, electric OATI AMI update. And Tess is the lucky winner.
All right, so most of you are aware of the AMI project, so we'll start with the timelines that we've established here. We're installing meters up to 50 a day. These are single-phase meters, so it's basically residential, some larger customers, but it's all the single-phase. We were doing 25 a day, but we just enlisted the help of the utilities admin assistant to help the utility billing department enter meter exchanges, the change-outs. 25 is about the max that they're able to handle a day and still accomplish all their other work. So we've enlisted the utilities admin assistant to do the other 25. We have 1,067 AMR meters left, which is our ERT meters that are not read by our AMI system as granular. They do pick up some reads from them, but it's not every 15 minutes like the AMI is. Hopefully with 50 a day, depending on our workload, we can start hitting those pretty hard. We do have the meters procured. We ordered them this year. You guys approved those, so we have those on hand. So as time allows, we can get those installed.
So the 1067, we have those on hand,
Yes.
waiting to be installed.
Yes. And those, I believe those are the single phase It might include some of the three-phase too, I'm not sure on that. Some of the challenges that we've had, they updated the MVRS system, which is ultimately going to be the unit that's going to read water meters through the Temetra handheld. System seems to be working better than the old MVRS is, so it's not really a challenge, but he wanted to note it. Meter reader assignments is a challenge based on who's going to be reading these in the long term. Being that position was not filled, you have electric meters and water meters, and those are two different departments and they are two different unions. So that will be a challenge to navigate in the future on what that looks like as that comes full circle.
Tess, can you touch on that? So this isn't an automated process with the new system?
Yes, the Temetra is the old system.
Sure.
But the water meters are not going to be changed to an AMI read, not full system. So they're being picked up by the electric meters. We have 6 channels on our electric meters that give the capability of picking up other devices, and that is the water. But there will probably always be some water that won't be able to be read. So that's where the Temetra will be coming into play.
We'll try to capture everything, but
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, changeover in the meter reader duties, just talked about that, just trying to figure out what that looks like. Ensuring the three-phase meters will come in correctly. Obviously, those are the most important revenue, like they are the largest. So we wanna ensure that when we deploy our AMI meters, that it's coming in correctly. We have been having some issues between the OATI system and our Tyler system and getting that to come in correctly and exactly how they need it for billing. So they're working through that right now. It's been a bit tedious and a bit long, but hopefully once it is correct and ready to go, we can deploy those relatively quickly. Another challenge, obviously, is when you go to change meters, we have a lot of remote work, or people that are home and expect communication with that, so we just work with them. We may have to go back 2-3 times to try and find a time that works for them to pull their meter and disconnect power, just to swap the meter. So an installation update, ultimately, the decision was made a while ago that they are gonna do 100% AMI deployment in the electric meters. If you remember correctly, that was not the original plan, but as this has evolved, it was very apparent that that was necessary. We have the other meters on hand. Obviously, we'll have potentially some onesie-twosies that we missed based on form or something special, but we should have most of those on hand. Like I said, the 50 a day, and the increase of water reads is substantial. Every time we deploy more electric meters, you're seeing that it's picking up more water reads alongside of it. And the plan for the three-phase meter deployment is we will deploy on government book first, just to make sure we have our processes and everything right. We feel like that is the best controlled environment to make sure that we are getting it right.
So we don't have any three-phase out at this time?
We have a few. We have a couple, we have one at our water treatment, one at our wastewater. We have one at our municipal building. We have one on Wilt Manufacturing. And one at the office.
Okay.
So the update from OATI, overall, it's in good state. Single-phase meters are being read and used for billing. I can say personally that the information that I'm getting from the AMI system is very helpful, especially for customer communication. I had one this morning where a customer was questioning how high their bill was. So I was able to pull it, you can go 15-minute, I break it down to a daily, and you can see the graph where if you have any spikes or if it's consistent, if any anomalies, especially on rentals, that seems to be a very good tool to have, because you get the difference of tenants and their habits are different. So you can see that, well, you moved in here, and it just makes it easy. It's good customer service. Tyler Tech, OATI, and Madison have confirmed three-phase data transfer between the systems. They still are having some problems with the demand, I believe, or the power factor, one of the two, that they are trying to finalize. I think it's power factor, because it's routing from the KVAR read that the meters are bringing in. Like I said, the water meters are being read more. And the one big one is OATI has begun doing firmware updates. Initially, they were not doing those firmware updates and pushing out across the whole system, and we were seeing some issues with that, so they've remedied that, and now they're pushing those out to us. The rest is graphs. I guess if you have any questions on the graphs, I'd be happy to answer them.
Tess, is there any capability or discussion for making some of that more granular information available to users so that they themselves can track the usage at certain times?
I think we know that it's an option. I don't think that we're there yet with the deployment of our system, but I definitely think we're going that direction.
I was gonna ask the same thing, but while we're kind of waiting for that, I mean, are they doing leak detection or any other behavioral detection for you directly internally so that you can get a report daily that says, hey, you know, between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m., these residents ran when normally they don't, or, you know, stuff of that nature? I'm just curious if it gets to that granular level.
Leak detection, are you talking water?
Yeah, I mean, water, electricity,
Okay.
everything, like, with the electric meters, you know, we have more data,
So I
more useful
think
data, so.
there are flags that are set up in Tyler that flag Julie if there's no usage, high usage, that she combs through.
She can actually,
Yep.
okay.
I don't believe that we have any triggers set up in the actual OATI system, and I don't know if it's capable of that.
Tess, we do have something also in the Temetra that you can set up flags for tampering, overusage, detection.
Reverse
not necessarily
meters,
a
stuff
leak
like that,
detection,
you
but
know.
it'll show higher, so those things aren't quite set up, but they are coming.
That was creepy.
Those last two maps there are pretty, if you paid attention the last couple of years, pretty impressive how that's grown as we
Yeah.
implement the new meters.
I think we've went from a problem child to a system that we just need to complete.
Yep.
You know, I think we were really having some struggles for a long time, but I feel like we've been able to turn that corner and hopefully have a good product in the end.
I'd like to, if you go up to the electric AMI meters by the numbers, I think some important numbers are, you look at your, some of our dashboard has changed a little bit. So the one on the left, the graphic on the left has 1,253 meters. That's what we had installed before. But since the current, when I made this PowerPoint, we're at 2,271. So you can see we've installed quite a few meters and it's going well, and our read rate is at 99.6, 99.7, just depending on the day, percent read rate. So the numbers are looking really good. And then if you go down to the ERT, you'll see that top blue banner, 1,067 meters. Those are gonna stay the same, but we're gonna have our communicating, actually our electric meters are gonna go down. That top number is gonna go down, and our communicating should go down as well, with the installation of the new AMI meters. And we're usually at 98 to 100% on those too. It's just depending on the day with the system and the environment and the things that cause the read rate to vary a little bit. On our water, on the last graph there, the two pictures, the blue banners, if you look at on the left, it's the previous one. Those are going to be the number of water meters that we currently have installed. And Chris and Julie have been doing some cleaning up to give us a better accurate number of the actual water meters that are out there. If you look from when we started, we were only at 69%, and we're, just by installing the electric AMI meters, we've jumped that up to 84%. So if you look at the communicating, they went from 1,895 to 2,331, and that's not doing anything to the water meters, that's just installing the electric AMI meters. So that's improving that exponentially. And then Dre, yes, that map, if you look at those two maps, we have electric and water. I don't know how my water got messed up there, but the electric and water maps there, that the dark blue dots are all AMI meters. So those are what have been deployed. I wish I had the previous one from the previous update, but I do not have those. But they've increased exponentially. Even on the waters, the light blue is the ones that are being read, and the red dots are the ones that are not being read. So they've improved a lot, just from when we started deploying more meters.
Any questions for Tess or Mike? No, I want to say thank you again. This is really coming along, materializing into what we were hoping, so that's positive. Thank you.
And it's our full intent, hopefully by the time we have our next update, we'll have our AMI deployment complete. So I guess we just wait till that's complete to have the next update then.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Ted.
All right, any further comments? Good? From the board? All right, we will now move into business item number 3, information technology, our 2025 update. Jed, thank you.
Excuse me. Good afternoon, Commission. So basically here what I have for you is I just kind of want to go through an IoT update and cybersecurity update for what we've been doing here this last year for the city, because Dan, you mentioned here when we first got started, I am going to want some direction for you as to how we want to proceed here on a couple of different items. But yeah, so the goal here this last year is, of course, to increase our cybersecurity posture. And the document you're seeing in front of you here, CISA, I've been working with CISA now for the last couple of years with Jim Edmond, and every year we go through a strategic plan, and we basically sit down and say, okay, what this year can we work on? And this last year, we really focused on a lot of the OT items here in the city. OT is operational technology, and of course, the cybersecurity infrastructure security agency wants to make sure that, of course, the water and the electric are as secure as possible, right? And so, basically, in a nutshell, what CISA provides us is that strategic plan, as well as this last year we actually implemented monthly CISA web application scanning. So all of our applications out there, Tyler Technologies, Empower, and other things of that nature that are throughout the city, we scan every month. And of course, I also get a weekly cyber hygiene scan that I review. And those services are actually provided for free from CISA. And those guys are great. DSU Project Boundary Fence is another free service that Dakota State provides for us. Actually, we're currently undergoing that right now. They're out there knocking on the doors and keeping, seeing what's open and what we can fix for this next year. So our last technical assessment was January 20th of last year. We basically looked at physical security for the buildings and such. And of course, like I said, this one's currently ongoing, and we're looking at increasing security for operational technology and such. So, should be interesting to see what they find this year. It's always fun to get that report back and see what we can fix. And that kind of segues into Secure South Dakota. So what that is, of course, we had that conversation here a few months ago in terms of, basically that was money that was given to the state in conjunction with CISA to basically secure up, municipalities throughout the entire state, right? And we've taken advantage of a couple different areas here already. So we've undergone a firewall review by Golden West Technologies. They've come back and gave Infotech a pretty shiny review on that. Only a couple of minor things we needed to take care of. We did do some network upgrades and we're funded by Secure South Dakota. So network switch over to MMU, switches over at the public library, labor on some upgrades over at the water treatment plant and over at, actually at the gen plant as well, so. And of course, Dan, we're gonna talk about here in a little bit, the secure email solution, the government community cloud. Been talking with Mike Waldner on this, and they would like us to move to that solution. But of course, I'm sure, Dan, you've got some questions on that.
Sure.
So other notable security projects we've been working on, Tess mentioned the AMI system. A lot of that stuff's actually been upgraded as well. So a lot of hardware upgrades there for both water towers and the gen plant, as well as the Union Power Plant as well. And let's see here, Cloud Secure Edge, water treatment plant. We've already upgraded actually that network over there to go to Cloud Secure Edge. We've basically eliminated using SSL VPN for obvious reasons. There's issues with SonicWall's service at this moment, so we want to migrate away from that. Other things I've been working on this year, IRP. I've been working on that pretty heavily. I actually just had my last day with my intern today, Brooke Buclair. She was working with me here from Dakota State. We went through my IRP and we developed a bunch of tabletop exercise scenarios, and we went through that with leadership here this last leadership meeting. It was a lot of fun. Scared some directors a little bit, and basically coming up with ideas and ways we can improve our response. And that was actually a lot of fun. And new cybersecurity tools in 2026. So we're going to be implementing Huntress, endpoint detection response, as well as identity threat detection and response, and also SIM. Basically, we're looking for anomalies on the network. We want to make sure we're good to go there. And that's actually a suggestion by Infotech. We went to that service, and I totally agree. It's going to be some good stuff here in this next month. And that pretty much, like I said, all the cybersecurity projects we worked through here this last year. And the one big component here that I want to make sure I stress, and I can't say enough, is education. Make sure we stay on top of things. We've been using KnowBe4 security awareness training. I know I pick on some of my users. They don't like those emails. I send them every once in a while, and of course some of the trainings, but I tell you what, it does actually make a big difference. People actually do talk about it, and it's actually making an impact. One of the things I'm working on with other departments right now would be Bitwarden and Password Manager training. We're just going to do a couple of workshops, get everybody set up with that, so we have better cyber hygiene there as well. And like I said, we're going to do a citywide cybersecurity tabletop exercise. I'm going to get everybody in the same room, and we're going to go through an incident response, and we're going to see how we shake out in terms of the IRP. And if we need to fill any holes, we will do so. That's just being prepared. That's the Boy Scout and me wanting to be prepared. So, all right. And so, I'm sure, Dan, you have some questions on Secure South Dakota.
Yeah, that's one of the main concerns, some of the new tools that you're putting in place, EDR, ITDR, SIEM, like those are all great things. And honestly, like the city is pretty much kind of on the forefront when it comes to security. KnowBe4, some of those other things that kind of keep it, that reminder, or keep it in the back of our heads when we're doing our day-to-day tasks, that's important. Social engineering, that's what is ultimately going to get most organizations. So just making sure everybody understands what that all means.
That's correct.
No, those are all great things. So kind of going on to the Secure SD stuff. I see that Mike will be with us next week to discuss getting some of that stuff.
Yes, I do have it
passed.
scheduled if that's something we want to entertain.
Yeah, so when it comes to this, I'm not going to try to push the commission in either direction. What I want to do is just make sure that we have all the information present. So what are we paying currently with our existing tenant? As we move to this GCC tenant, what aspects of that Secure SD
Right. I'm
will
still
cover?
working on trying to get quotes from Infotech and Secure South Dakota on this one. They're kind of going back and forth. Essentially what I got is two different philosophies, right?
Sure.
The state wants us to get to the GCC because that's the best, most secure solution that you can come up with, right? And that's their main goal. Infotech says, well, you guys are doing pretty good with the current solution you're at, right? And if we add and we bolt on the Huntress, and hopefully that'll take care of everything. So I got two different philosophies. The current, we spend about $28,000 to $29,000 a year in terms of office products. It will increase to around $40,000 a year when we go to the government cloud. Now, it's kind of like comparing apples to oranges, though. It's really not the same product. It's more of like an EC3, EC license over for the office in comparison to the G3. But it's a bit more of a secure solution, so you're going to be on U.S. soil for all the data. the support's better, you know, and things of that nature. You get all of the, security tools that you don't get with Office. You can get it down in, with the business products, but you're adding it on. It's like you're buying à la carte at that point.
Sure.
So yes, it's more expensive, Dan, in terms of the actual solution, but I have not actually got a definitive quote, because one of the things they're kind of fighting over, and I mentioned it too, is that they don't necessarily want to pay for the transition between OneDrive and SharePoint and some of those other things, State doesn't feel like they need to pay for that, so. I'm not sure how that's gonna shake out in terms of the actual
Sure.
quote, so.
No, and that's exactly it. Once we have an idea of what that looks like, what additional labor needs to be covered by us to make that move,
Correct.
and then when the dollars stop coming in, what ultimately we're gonna end up paying ongoing. I understand the idea of GCC tenants, the additional security. I do go back and forth on whether that's necessary at our level of functioning, that we need to have that to that point, but, no, that's kind of just what I was looking for in regards to information.
Right.
So as long as we can provide that, I could see us making a decision that evening, but, if we don't know what the ongoing costs are after the dollars stop, that's gonna be the biggest,
That's
question
one of
mark.
it's one of the ones that scratch my head on that one a little bit, because I get conflicting information back and forth on that, so I'm kind of still working on that, so hopefully
'Cause-
within the next couple of weeks, I can actually know that.
And we do have costs with OneDrive and some of these other Microsoft services, so do they increase in cost when moving to that GCC tenant, or is it just the actual movement of them over to that?
No, that'll be the recurring per year, so. Go
So
from-
it increased their storage costs or everything else because now you're on
Yeah.
US soil?
Correct. Like I said, this is what Secure South Dakota wants us to do. That's their plan, but if it doesn't work, it's up to you guys how you think, where we should go in that direction, so.
I think a lot of cities, our size or larger would definitely be able to absorb the costs. I think when it comes to the lower level, it's gonna get really difficult for them, and then not to mention all the additional costs that come on top of it, that they're not willing to pay for. That's gonna be another hurdle for a lot, so it's not a matter of, I just question whether this is the right use of the funds in this manner, or if they need to be doing it slightly differently, so that's kinda where I'm at, but I'd just like to see as much information as possible, so everybody up here is educated and
Right.
can make a clear decision, so. But thank you for your time, that
Yeah, no
was
problem.
great.
Any other questions?
Jed or Amy, do we have a standalone cybersecurity policy as part of our insurance coverage?
We have insurance coverage through the state, and yes, I do have actual policy in place, yes.
Okay, so there's a cybersecurity covered underneath of that?
Yep.
Are there any gaps in that coverage that you're concerned about?
Not really gap coverage that concerns us, but more of how we handle it could negate our insurance policy
Right.
entirely. So the manner in which we process it is instrumental,
Correct.
so.
Yeah, so but if we ever do have an incident, making sure that we go through those steps and that RIP are pretty important, because if you do make a misstep, you may not get covered on cyber insurance. And so one of the things that, the GCC does do for you right away is it does make you compliant in that aspect. At least, if the state comes back and says, hey, well, we gave you this opportunity, right? How come you didn't take it? That's one of the things that I kind of struggle with, so.
And we are seeing an increase in people reaching out or trying to contact us. We did have a CEO fraud attempt a few weeks ago, so it is an increasing concern, definitely for the finance office.
All right. Any additional further questions or comments? All right, thank you, Jed, and everyone that presented today. That was good, a lot of good information. I feel we're heading yet in the correct direction there. So with that, we'll roll into public comment. I don't know, did we have anybody sign in? Seeing no comment, public comment, we'll go into announcements. Our next regular commission meeting will be Monday, December 15th at 5:30 in this same room. That's our one and only announcement, and with that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Thank you, everyone.